Hello, everybody. Good evening, and thank you for coming to the July 16th, 2024 meeting. I'm Anthony Farnelli. As the highest ranking outgoing officer, I will be calling this annual meeting to order at 6:45. Actually, I can't call an annual meeting to order because we do not have a quorum. So if we get quorum in the next, at some point in this meeting, we're missing one person. Yes, we're missing one person. Then we can call an annual meeting to order and vote for some officers. Otherwise, we have to that off until next month, August 20th. I'm just going to turn it over to Vanessa to read our introduction. Actually, no, I'll introduce the interpreters. Interpreters, can you introduce yourselves, please? Perhaps the Mandarin one first.
Good evening, this is the Spanish announcement. Buenas noches, si desea interpretación en español para esta reunión, por favor llame al número de teléfono 347-966-4114 y entre el código 377-246-808, símbolo numeral. Por favor, asegúrese que su teléfono y su micrófono esté silenciado para no interrumpir la interpretación. Otra vez, ese número de teléfono es 347-966-4114 y el código de conferencia es 377-246-808, símbolo numeral. Gracias. Spanish announcement completed.
This is the Mandarin interpreter. 今天晚上我们的活动呢是有中文翻译的。如果需要中文翻译的家长或者社区人士的话呢，请拨打我们的电话347-966-4114。4114，然后请按一下我们今天晚上的密码是995751651，然后按紧急，谢谢。
শুভ সন্ধ্যা সবাইকে। আপনারা যদি এই অনুষ্ঠান বাংলায় শুনতে চান, আপনারা ডায়াল করতে পারেন 347-966-4114। নাম্বারটা আবার বলি 347-966-4114। তারপরে আপনারা একটা আইডি নাম্বার দিবেন, ওটা হলো 691-110-46#। আইডি নাম্বারটা আবার হলো 691-110-46#। ধন্যবাদ। Thank you.
Thank you so much, interpreters. Please, any public who are attending virtually, please sign the attendance sheet. I'm going to drop the link in the chat again. Members of the public, signing attention to the room. I'm going to turn it over to Vanessa Umoka to read the introduction.
Thank you all for coming to the District 15 Community Education Council tonight. We appreciate your time. We are glad to join us. For those of you who are new to CEC meetings, there are 32 CECs throughout the city, plus 4 citywide councils. Each CEC represents a community education district, and each is made up of 12 volunteer members. 10 of whom are elected by parents in the district, and the remaining members are appointed by the local board president and 2 high school student members. CEC 15 is a state-mandated public body responsible for ensuring that public school parents and the public have input in educational decisions that are made at the school district level. The council reviews education policies and advocates for high-quality education that benefit all of the District 15 public, elementary, and middle school students. CEC 15 serves 36 elementary and middle schools and 1 high school, under the oversight of the superintendent. The CEC members serve in an advisory role on education matters to the district superintendent, the chancellor, and of the Department of Education and state and city officials. We approve the district school zoning lines submitted by the Department of Education. We evaluate the district superintendent. We review the district's educational programs and we support school leadership teams. We also submit recommendations for the school construction authority's annual capital plan. And as of recent amendments to the law, CEC is advised in the selection of chair coordinators. We actively seek input and feedback from the public and encourage you to visit our website at cecd15.org. Take a look at our Facebook page, connect with us on X, formerly Twitter, and write to us about any issue you might want to address or learn about. Each school has a CEC liaison, or names and contact information is available on our website. And again, I remind you to sign attendance sheet.
Thank you. Okay, so our parliamentarian is not here tonight. Would anybody like, do you think you could jump in on, what do I need to do? So basically, if we have public comments, we would just moderate first going to the people who are in attendance in person. Then you would go to the chat and anybody who wanted to speak virtually, and also the you would ask the interpreters if there was people who wanted to make comments. And there is the public comment protocol that.
So tonight's calendar meeting is in person and will include a public comment period. And we will take both remote and in-person comments to gather additional feedback from our families and school community members. You may leave your camera on or for your own privacy if you prefer, you use audio only during the comment period. Rules of engagement. When you comment, please comment on the topic respecting the privacy of others, and please do not include your children or staff. Guests who make inappropriate comments will be removed from the meeting. During the public comment period, those attending virtually may raise their hand to comment or indicate in the chat that they would like to speak. Those called upon will be unmuted. If you are attending in person, you must sign the guest attendance sheet and indicate whether you would like to make a comment. Speakers will be called on one at a time and will be allowed 1 minute per comment. You will hear as many speakers as time allows. It's possible that not every comment or question will be given time. So the best way to get your question answered is always to write to the CEC at cec15@schools.nyc.gov. CEC members will also be given a comment period. Members will be called upon and are each permitted 1 2-minute comment or question. If members do not have a comment, they need to see their time.
Yeah, we'll help. Okay, so our agenda had an annual meeting on it. We did not conduct our annual meeting. It's possible that Moon may join us, at which point we can move to some important business that we vote on. Otherwise, we will have to go right into our calendar meeting. I'm gonna call this calendar meeting to order at 6:55 p.m. That's call the roll.
Member Anthony Duarte, present. Member Elizabeth King. Vanessa Llosa is present. Nancy Cruz, is absent. Nancy Val, present. Hans Arietta. Member Mahmoud. If I may, good question. Stanley Vidal. Jonathan Davis has his absence, Bettina Rogers. We have a vacant council seat right now. Vacant.
So we do not presently have quorum. So I think we just have to go into the direct attendance before. Yeah. Nothing. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I guess you should sit here. I guess it doesn't happen.
So I'm just gonna get copies, so that you can see it. So, good evening, everyone. So it's a little light because it's the summer, but I just want to give some information about where we're heading to next year and then some additional information. And I just got additional information just now, which is probably gonna make a lot of families happy. We go to the next slide. So a little bit about the town hall survey and plan, summarizing updates, the CEC feedback that I was able to read, and something called sharpening our lens for equity, and how we're gonna tackle that work going forward. So go to the next slide. There has been a request from the community to go back to having town halls, but in an effort to ensure that I don't overstep on CEC, what we're gonna do is we're gonna have 4 town halls a year, October, January, April, and June. The topics will be led by the community itself in terms of what the community wants to talk about in here. And then I'll host an hour meeting for those particular topics to be discussed. If there are some DOE experts, I'll bring them on board as well to be able to provide support and feedback. It's just an effort to increase access to communication. As you all know, we also have a new website that's launching in August. It will also have an app, so you'll be able to open it up on your phone. The idea is that we're going to get parents and parent coordinators and students even to put articles into the paper that will reflect what's happening in the theme of that month so that the community is involved in the writing. It can also be translated in 180 languages and the click of a button. So there'll be a lot of updates on not only district calendar wide events, but also events that are happening at different schools across the district as well. There'll also be links to be able to access all the systems that parents will need in order to be able to support their children effectively. Next slide. So I want to thank you for your comprehensive thoughtful feedback around what I need to work on. And so what I hear is slowing down, which I'm not even doing now, so I gotta slow down a little bit. Ensuring a collaborative tone during heated discussions, which I do recognize. Provide as much data and policy updates as possible, which I kind of do. Trying to put out as much as we can information that we are allowed to. Ensure all families have voice and access to the district and DOE information, including all CEC members in district communication. So going forward, we will send not only a memo to the president, but also to the rest of the council, just so that you all know. What's always happened is that the information is usually provided to the president, and the president usually disseminates that information to his members. But there have been questions about that recently, and so as a result, we're just going to send the message to everyone, and you'll all be aware of what's going on. And that's something that was added to in terms of the feedback. So I'll make sure I stay true to that. And then asking you to stay until the end of the CEC calendar meetings. I'll continue to do that as necessary and step away when you guys ask me to step away or say that I can't step away. But I will stay committed to the end of the meeting, in the event you need me for any additional feedback or options. Next slide. Summarizing updates and celebrations. So if we go to the next slide, we have Summarizing is up and running. It's been successful. We have 7 sites. There are 2,145 students currently registered in our Summarizing in our district this summer. Everything's running smooth. I think there was only one hiccup at MS51. The gymnasium doesn't have AC. What we did was we moved the kids out of the gymnasium and having them use the cafeteria space, which is large like the gymnasium, and using that space for AC. In the interim, I'm working with DSM to see if we can get portable AC so that they can be used in that space, so that the cafeteria can be used for other things throughout the day. the CBOs are aware and they're working with the community with that. We're also having a nurse situation where, at one of our sites, the nurse is by a different hospital. So students who are not registered with the hospital are able to get nursing services. I'm meeting tomorrow with, Central Liaison with the nursing supervisors to make sure that that's not the case. And if need be, placing another nurse there for the rest of the summer. And that's for my PS1 location. Next slide. Whether engaging in arts activities, trips to Governor's Island, or working on that problem, students are really enjoying the summer. Schools are doing a lot of project-based learning, integrating it with NSSI. We did the National Summer School Institute's curricula last year. We continued it this year. It's both digital, but also in-person documentation. They use comic books to help children learn in terms of reading. So it's a different experience. And so we're fortunate that all of our kids are having an amazing experience. And we've been working side by side with our CBOs. So there's a lot of work around kids doing project-based learning and extension activities from the day to the evening extended time. Next slide. You'll see some additional picture of BAX teaching residency and PBL happening. On the right, I'm assuming that's the supermarket store that they have at PSA before, where students actually go in and interact and still there in the market. Next slide. Other kids having activities across our students across the district, just having a good time, you can see kids smiling. Next slide. Same thing, kids working on projects, sports, and everything else. Now, yeah, you go to the next slide. So next year, we're really thinking about this word sharp with an extra P, so sharp E, right? Sharpening our equity lens and helping schools thinking about developing a lens for leading in educational equity. We talk a lot about equity, but then what does it look like? And so what we're going to be working on with schools is thinking about what does that look like in terms of student achievement, every student every day. How are hiring practices across the district? How are we creating diverse staff and inclusive practices? How are academics? How is the curriculum and instruction aligned to CRSC, or culturally responsive and sustaining education, but that's data informed? Looking at our resources, how are schools allocating the budgets and funds to meet every student's needs and the teams? Programming, how are we providing enrichment and mandates for students across our schools? And then parents and partnerships. What parents and partnerships are we using? Community-based organizations and health clinics to support our community. So when you think about the word sharp, or sharp D, right? How are we tightening up on all these areas that are all about equity, but we only talk about one area of it, right? And so thinking about how are schools methodically thinking about how are they targeting these areas to actually use this lens as they're thinking about the resources that each individual school as a district, we're using this lens to see how are schools meeting the needs around ensuring there's equity as well. Right, we've already been doing that with the PPO process and looking at domains 2 and 5, which really is targeting individual student support, but also academic and different.
Oh, my God.
So sorry about that. I get that straight. Next slide. We already have our save the dates for next year, so you'll be able to click on the PowerPoint, and it will also be posted on the CC website for everyone. Our day of service is going to be January 16th, where we work at City Harvest. Our art showcase is going to be February 13th. The PBL will be March 12th. Our musical, which I'm expecting is going to be Lion King this year, will be April 4th and 5th. We're looking at using Brooklyn Tech, only because there's a larger space and we'll be able to have more things come out. Our STEM Exploration Day, which was a huge hit, was May 17th. Our recognition ceremony is going to be May 28th. And our Learning Together Field Day, I can see the date, some PowerPoint. Can you see that date?
Sorry,
It's on.
June sixth,
Yeah, it's the clerical day.
2020.
What we're thinking about this day, and we talked to CC president as well as President's Council president around putting resources together for this day. Rather than it just be a day for learning for parents, we're thinking about a field day. So kids are off on this day, but staff are in. So we're going to use our visit teachers to create a field day at Prospect Park that have schools compete against each other and have a field day for the community. So Neil is gonna be working with the health clinics and different organizations that can actually set up stations for parents to go to get information, whether it be voting, whether it be, well, voting won't happen then, but we'll be up for a new, mayor in 2025, right? So whether it be voting, whether it be, immigration, whether it be health clinics or whatever it might be, having resources out there and then creating like a carnival at the top of the park. So we're gonna be working on the purpose. So we're asking all school communities, and this is one way that I know President's Council said, how can we put resources together? That's one way, and CC and President's Council been supporting that. And so we're thinking of doing it that way this year, coming up, and we'll have a rain date for that date as well, in case it does rain. Next slide. That was it. Very brief, but I do have one more thing. So we all know that New York City was needing approximately 20,000 seats, I believe, for 3K for parents who had registered for 3K and 3K. And a lot of some of our families had to take seats that were 3, 5, and even 6 miles away from their home. As a result, Early Childhood Office under leadership of Dr. Kara Ahmed and Chancellor Banks and Mayor Adams. And we do have to give a shout out to Mayor Adams on this because he's the one who was able to support in making this happen. We had 190 seats that were not filled in our district, meaning 190 families had to go elsewhere outside of the district to get a seat. As a result of this, we were able to get back 165 seats. The money was allocated today. So we have 2 3K classes at 261, 2 3K classes at 32, 1 3K class at 130, 1 3K class at 230, 1 3K class at 456, which is our new school on State Street, 1 3K class for 321 at their second site, which is the President Street location, 2 3K site 3K classes at 295, and 1 3K class at PS 38. Now, in addition to that, we were able to move 3 3K classes to 321, so they'll have 3 3K and 1 3K. And we were able to move 1 3K class to PS 10. So those are the things that are gonna happen for this September. Schools receive their allocation this evening around 5 PM. They will be informed tomorrow because they have a principals conference tomorrow. So they will be informed of all, as I actually started making the calls, so they were excited about this. For any of these sites that have new 3K sites, they will get additional funding for furniture and other materials, and they will still be provided support from those early literacy coaches that provide support to those particular schools. So they'll have an early childhood coordinator, and then they'll have rotating social worker that will provide support to these particular schools. I'm just happy to know that we were able to recover 165 of the 190 seats per hour. Yeah. Fighting hard.
All right, so now. Oh,
Yeah, that's neat. So,
I would go to the people who have,
sure. Do you have any, or members of the public have any questions for the superintendent? Are there any questions? We usually go to the interpretive next.
yeah.
Okay. Any questions on the Bengali interpretation line?
There are no questions on the Bengali line.
Any questions on the Mandarin interpretation line?
No questions
no
on the
question.
Mandarin line. Thank you.
And any questions on the Spanish interpretation line?
No questions on the Spanish line.
Are there any questions from other members of the public who are joining us on Zoom? Then go to CPC members. Sure. Yes. Question?
Sure, 2 things, give me updates on FLC or the 295 and,
Good. So the first one, FLC. So we're in the process. The posting has already closed. So now we're doing resumes. So we're about 115 resumes, being honest. But some people don't know, and then some people don't want, and some people are more qualified than others. We're in the process of interviewing about 8 people within the next 2 days already that are scheduled. What we're planning on doing with that is that once we select some 1 or 2 candidates, then we want to offer at least a member to represent the CEC to help us with the final interview so that you're part of the process of the person that's going to be really supporting you and supporting our parents across the district. We have some internal candidates that are current PCs at our schools that are interested, and we feel it's responsible for us to at least interview them as well. So we're going to interview them, and then we're going to interview other candidates. What I'm looking for is addition by subtraction, right? Christine is a formidable leader who knows the regs and knows the ins and outs. I'm looking for someone that has the capability of being able to do that. And then also add to that repertoire of being able to do some additional things to support our families and our community. Up to and including possibly having another language that might provide more accessibility to our community. So yeah, in terms of 295 and 10, and I know I have to go quickly for them, yeah. So in terms of 295 and 10, yeah, we're still in the process. As I said to 10 and to 295, this is the process that we're gonna go. So we started early on because we know that these communities wanted to engage sooner. So we started those conversations. We're gonna continue those conversations September and October. I hope that hearing today, the 2 3K classes that I added at 295 is just another indication that I'm not solidified in a response or an answer. We're gonna do everything that we can. I'm trying and extending an olive branch or a leaf to support us any way I can for 295. There's no guarantees, but we don't know. I can say that based on what we have in terms of data, based on what we know, this seems like the direction we should go. But I'm not solidified in anything yet. Let's see how these 3K classes fill. Let's see how they fill up their K classes and so on and so forth. And we'll go from there. So right now, that's still where it was before. What I do appreciate is that the PS10, PAPTA, and FTA at PS 295 have already been collaborating, working together. So regardless if we merge or not, the partnership between the 2 schools is getting stronger, which is a good indication because that is a community thing. And anytime 2 communities that are within the same neighborhood can work collaboratively together like this is a win-win for us as a district anyway. So I want to thank the PTA as well as the FTA publicly because they've been working together to work towards that direction.
Any questions? Jen? No, we're not.
Just want to get some clarity on the 3K,
Yeah.
classes that are being added, classes that are being added.
Yes.
Are there any fiscal issues that we're encountering? Like I think, I'm not sure that, this got starts to be part of that program in.
Not necessarily. So for the 3K, not necessarily. I've done all that background before I was able to give the classes, so we got everything cleared with the state before we actually were able to move forward. So in 295's case, for example, the bathroom is not in the room, but it's on the same floor, so that's actually okay. So we're gonna be able to do that. It's the same thing at the Bishop Ward campus. Most of the classrooms don't have bathrooms. They have to walk through that because the building is in the middle school, high school building. So that, as long as they have schools and everything, which we're already working through. The logistical thing that you're talking about as it relates to having furniture, it might be too late to get furniture in time for September. So what we're doing logistically is we're working with the early childhood office to get furniture that already exists at sites that will have these classes, be able to move those furniture to those schools. Not to say that the school won't be able to use that funding to still get furniture, but we want to make sure that kids have what they're supposed to have when they live. Yeah. So. Good question.
Is that it? Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Great, so, we have forum now, just, right, we have seven people, so I'm gonna ask our, secretary here to, update the attendance to show that Mamoon, is present. And I'm going to make a motion to amend the agenda so that we can, so that we can vote on 3 budgetary items. Now, while we have people, hold on. If you move around the tax, which tax and the. So. I made the motion, and Nancy seconded the motion. Nicolao, yes. I guess. I am present. Nancy, yes. Yes.
Yes.
Stanley? Yeah. Peter? Thank you so much, guys, for that I'm doing. So I would look in your folder and you will see the budget. There. I read the budget. So, take a look at that budget. That is our first preliminary budget of this year, and obviously we can, you know, hold another vote to amend that budget. So this budget's, it's similar to the previous year. So you can see that this is our previous year's budget, and this is what is being proposed. In red, so we're proposing $5,000 on the procurement card again. The same amount, $9,750 for member reimbursements and meeting expenses, which is the same. Again, $3,500 for technology. That might be too much, and maybe we can amend that down the road if we want to move money into member reimbursements or somewhere else. $1,000 for office supplies. $500 for administrative assistance, travel expenses. $250 for communication apps and templates. The number for events is $3,000 for district-wide family and student events, and the title is different. Before we called it parent workshops and activities. Now, it's district-wide family and student events, because I would like a line so that we can purchase things for the district to use for all their wonderful events that they've been doing all year. And then below that is $2,000 for the CDC family and student events. So that would be $2,000 for anything that we wanted to do. So obviously, you know, we vote on this today. Next meeting, we can amend this at any time. So that's the budget that, you know, goes in right now. With anybody, okay. And. All right. Roll. Voting on the amendments to the budget, Anthony Anthony, it's not an amendment, it's just the new 2024-25. To preliminary budget.
Preliminary budget.
Yeah, next. Yeah. Anthony, yes. I vote yes. Nancy, yes. 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 Donald?
Yes.
Stanley? Yeah. Katina? Yes. Oh, yes. Great. So the other two budgetary items. So we had, if you recall, we participated with the district on the D15 diversity plan events, and we purchased food. We submitted the purchase order by FANUS, and then we learned that POs could not be made after April. The DOE's rules are very complicated with spending, and they change, and it's very hard to keep track of them. And so this vendor has not yet been paid. And so Shanice was advised by Linda Perez, who is our SPO, to use $250 from last year's budget. This happened in June. And then take the rest out of whatever budget we vote on today, our current 2024-25 line item for CC 15 events. So the amount we spent $1,451.25 on food, minus the $250 that Shanice already gave the vendor to sort of pacify them. And then we owe $1,201.25. So I am actually that line, it would come out of district-wide family events, not CDC events. All right, so I am proposing that we retroactively pay $1,201.25 out of fiscal year 2024-25 from the line item district-wide family events. I think we do have to go to public comment. Any comments or questions? Are there any questions or comments on the Spanish interpretation then?
No questions or comments on the Spanish line.
Any
No
questions or
comment, no.
comments on the Mandarin line?
No comment and no question.
And no questions on the Bengali line?
No questions from the Bengali line.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments from others who are in the Zoom?
Okay, let's go around to see member comments or questions about that.
So are we gonna have enough money to pay?
We have enough, oh yes, we have enough.
Oh,
money.
we have enough
Yes,
money?
we have enough money. We just
Let's
put,
make that thing.
$3,000 in that
Okay.
line.
Let's make that thing.
My only question is,
Yeah.
we can move things between budget lines during the year.
Yeah, it's up to a certain dates, you can move things around, so like, we're taking 1,200 out of this line, we can amend this.
If we don't use the technology.
Yeah, I think usually up till February, that's like the last time you can amend your budget. So yes. Okay. I will make the motion to spend $1,201.25 by budget line items statewide family assistance for the D15 diversity plan that occurred in 20. Anybody wants to second that? Tina? We gotta close the vote, and tell me if I wait a minute, we just lost a voting member. She's here, but she just.
But she heard the entire, but
She heard the entire. Yeah, we have to wait. I mean, we could all vote and then just wait.
Right.
Okay, so I vote yes.
Yeah. Fine.
Yes.
Tina?
Wait. I'm gonna. Put the motion on the floor.
How many people are on Zoom?
Huh?
How many people are on Zoom?
Maybe just like spectators, there's 13.
Can I go, get the vote?
We could let her know we're waiting for the vote. Our seventh member has returned. Stanley, do you support the retroactive spending of $1,200, $201.25 from our current budget for the District 15 diversity plan event that we wanted to? Thank you. Okay, now we can pay our vendor, who, is very unvended. Okay, so now we have some retroactive spending on reimbursements. We received some reimbursements very late, in June. One member, put in for $150 in affiliate charges for, 2 meetings in, May and June. And then we have another member who put in a year's worth of childcare and cellular charges, both months. And that sum is $1,460. How would the council like to proceed? Would you like to proceed with two separate votes on this or one single vote? Two separate votes. Two separate votes. Fine. Like it's all, it's all from this, it will all come out of this year's budget, it'll come out of this $9,750 for member reimbursements that we just. Do we have enough to cover it? Are we gonna have? For the sake of.
Then we supposed to have surplus from last year. Because this spending is coming from last year to this year.
That surplus goes back to the DOE immediately. And then,
But then this year has to survive with tight budget. Because this
This
$1,200 before,
right,
this
this-
$1,000,
Yeah.
so already $2,200 you are spending
Yeah.
in advance.
Right.
You have to be careful for future.
so
And
we
members should know that that bill is supposed to be presented before the end of the fiscal year.
I mean, they both technically met the deadline. They both technically met the deadline for submit. Qualified for this, and they qualified for this, yeah.
And the concern is if it comes out of this year's budget. That is.
It does.
It's gonna be a
other-
tight budget this year. Right?
It limits other people from
Yeah.
being able to put in their reimbursement for this year because somebody chose to wait the last minute to put in a year's worth of reimbursement.
It does,
I think that's completely. So the last month is one thing,
right,
but to wait an entire year to put in a year's worth of reimbursement. And to make it then come out of the future year's budget.
so you would prefer to have two separate votes?
I would prefer to have a vote that is going to be cognizant of how people should be putting in their reimbursement.
What I'm hearing the desire to look at this thing through a more nuanced lens, and there's. You clearly see a distinction in how. One person put in their reimbursements and how another. And so. To me, it sounds like there's a desire to do this in 2 seconds. That.
I don't disagree with doing it in separate, like, I don't have a technical issue with that. I still think that the rules allow for it to put it that way. So because of that, because we don't have precedent to say, no, you wait until the house and vote yes and vote. That's why I'm like, for admissions purposes, I'm still, yes, vote.
My idea is, if they make the deadline, and if they put it before that, then why don't we pay from last year? If you send money to UAE, it's not helping. So you can, because then you say they made it before the end of the term.
Oh, they submitted it on the Friday, the afternoon of the Friday. And I signed it, but it didn't get to
Oh,
the
it was
DOE.
Friday evening, all the way.
Yes, Friday evening, I did sign it, but it did not make it
Reflected.
to the DOE, and so it didn't make the DOE.
Okay, so then, anyway, we have to adjust it, but for future, all the members should know that we should have to.
We should definitely have this conversation, and then. by the state, or maybe, some policy, but every 6 months, put in, every 4 months, or whatever it is that we decide.
So do we want to table this vote or not?
President of America, would anybody?
Oh, sorry to raise one other issue, but I know it's like, weren't you also told a different deadline to do the reimbursement request? And so it also seems like there was maybe some different information. that people were-
Yeah, because, the deadline that I initially announced from our SDO was earlier in June, because they don't really want people to submit these on the very last day that they can be processed in the evening. Because they're not going to get processed. So I would have to look back, so, how long do members have to get in their reimbursements from, this is from Linda first, members should try to submit their reimbursements no later than June 5th for processing prior to the end of the year. Can members still obtain reimbursements for 2023-24 after June 30th? Unfortunately, the last day our system accepts any reimbursement requests would be June 30th. Anything submitted after this date and hit the new 2024-25 budget, if approved by the CEC at that time. Otherwise, the person will not be entitled to a reimbursement if not approved due to the late submission.
Can we hold their reimbursements and see how you're spending the equipment?
So I don't know. I really don't know. Nobody has ever suggested doing that. I'm not comfortable doing that. I'm not comfortable with that. I don't feel like it seems punitive and here, I don't want to do that.
Actually, we should not make this big thing. Like, let it pass. Why discuss to our perfume? But let us vote.
Yeah. For the net, have a discussion about it. Should we hold this vote?
I think that based on what we're talking about, we could move forward with one of those.
One of those votes.
Deal with it every person, and then the other one, have that conversation. And ultimately, I'm going to, I personally am going to vote yes, because I'm the whole one, because technically, we were this person, because
Right.
or he did put in for the investment time,
Right.
but it should be able to, have it.
I need somebody to tell me what kind of vote we're gonna take right now.
For the person that the reborn, I don't know which one to describe, for that person, if it was done, not the day off, the night off.
You wanna hold this vote separately? Okay, that's what I'm trying to. Okay. All right, I'm going to. I'm gonna separate out these two. I'm gonna make, a motion to spend $150 for cellular charges for a member for the 2 meetings, in May and June. Is anybody going to second that motion? Yes, I can. That's a second. That's gonna call the roll. Yeah. Nancy. Don.
Yes.
Yes.
There's no public comment on that one?
Oh, sorry. Yes, I apologize. Let's go to public comment. There's so much going on there. Thank you for pointing that out. Do you have any comments? Do you have any comments?
Yeah, I mean, for what it's worth,
but it was recommended that June fifth to pass it. There'd be no reasonable expectation. Oh, no, that's the second. That's the second one. This one, what's on budget?
$150 for
What's that? What's the cellular phone?
for cellular phone. Every CC member is entitled to, put in 75, a reimbursement for $75 for cellular, use of cellular phone
Per month.
per month.
Oh, and that's in like your,
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah.
I have no comment.
Okay. Okay. And the interpretation channels, the interpretation channel, questions or comments?
There's no question.
Bengali channel,
There are no questions on the Bengali line.
Spanish channel,
No questions or comments.
anybody else who's joining us on Zoom?
So my motion to move the vote on the second, that is to the next meeting. Okay. Everybody finished? Family, not.
I'm so sorry.
Let's hold that vote again because we did that faster.
Okay.
So we did, have to take the public comment. Sorry.
I'm telling you.
Yes, I vote yes.
I vote yes. Nancy? Yes. Hans?
Yes.
Dan?
Yeah.
Thank you. And David?
So, there. Now, there is that motion on the floor to move up the conversation about spending $1,450 for a year's worth of reimbursements to the next meeting. Who's making the Nancy, you're making that motion? Okay. If anybody seconded that motion. I have something. Order. I'll second the motion.
Antonia, how do you vote?
Yes.
Wait, public comment.
Public comment. Okay, right.
So public comment to move
The public comment about moving this conversation about this larger amount for years worth of reimbursement to the next.
comments.
Sounds like a good idea.
What were you going to say before that?
Should I, if I go to the next one, should I say that or?
Say that.
Well, yeah, I mean, June fifth, that passes it Friday afternoon. There's no reasonable expectation that it could be processed at that time, and it's not 2 months, like $100. It's $1,400, you write down from the times, so, you know, maybe partial or something, but it seems like you're kind of equal in your budget already, and, you know, it should have more due diligence, to put $1,400 in the Friday afternoon. It's not the deadline either, because you can't get it. And how much surplus did come back?
Lots.
So it could have been paid last year.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Any comments or questions on the Spanish interpretation line about moving this vote to the next meeting?
No questions or comments.
What about the Bengali interpretation line?
There are no questions or comments.
And the Mandarin interpretation?
There's no question and comment.
Anybody else on Zoom?
And I hope we will talk to this during the next meeting. Antonia, how do you vote?
Yes.
Yes, Hans, how do you vote? Mahmoud, how do you vote?
Yes.
Stanley, how do you vote?
Yes.
Katina, how do you, Nancy? Yes. And Katina, how do you vote? Okay, we have agreed to discuss this in the.
Okay, wonderful. So, because we did everything so round it out, I want to call this calendar meeting, I want to, let's see, I have to go to general public comment before I do it. First, I have to go to general. I'm going to save my CEC 15 report. So visit me if we get to it. I want to go to a general public comment before we adjourn.
Any general comments on the handwriting?
No comments.
Anything on the Spanish interpretation?
No comments.
Anything on the interpretation?
No comments.
Anybody else on there?
Okay, great. I'm gonna adjourn this meeting at 7:47 PM, and I'm going to immediately open the annual meeting. I'm gonna call the annual meeting to order. And 7:47. So this is our annual officer election. And we have a script. And you guys can follow along. Oh, that's right, that's the bylaw, sorry. There's one down here. You know what, I can read it on my computer, so. That one, okay. So the annual, I'm just gonna read the script. The annual meeting is a separate meeting where the only business is the election of officers. It must be convened.
Can you start? Can I stay 1 minute?
Can you take 1 minute? Can you do it later? You have to leave. If you leave, we can't hold them and we can't hold them the annual. meeting. No, because we won't have quorum anymore. We need 7. So,
Okay, so I'll
okay, all right. So, yes.
And we elect, must we elect all of the officers?
No, we
at one
can,
time?
no, we can,
Just elect one officer.
no, we have to make an effort to elect as many officers as offer their candidacy. We can't selectively.
Just out of time.
If I open an annual meeting, I have to move forward. Okay. So, we have our administrative assistant, we have our secretary, minutes. Student performance reached the highest ranking outgoing officer, told me water, that's a roll call. Okay, so let's call the roll for the annual meeting. Councilmember Rivera, I am here. So Lucas present, Leslie is absent. Absent, so it's present, Nate is absent. Then I'll let Tony excuse absence, Enzo Bando, present. Hans Arieta. William Rashid. Danny Vidal. Here. Jonathan Davis, excuse absence, Katina Rogers. And we have. Here. Okay. Oh, I sort of took them. Very good. Everybody to pass. Okay, so then, let me let you do that first. It's gonna be a lot of that. Okay, so, first we have to elect a chair pro temp. The chair pro temp is the person who runs the election until the president is elected. And since I am putting my candidacy forth as president, I cannot run the election of the president. So, do we have anybody who would nominate themselves as the chair pro temp? I nominate myself. Okay, Vanessa. So, do we have any other nominees for chair pro temp? Oh, Hans nominated himself.
I withdraw my nomination.
No, Vanessa withdraws her nomination. Hans, we just have to confirm that Hans is everybody's okay, so let's all roll call votes.
Anthony Ferrara, how do you vote?
I vote yes for Hans.
I vote yes. And you vote yes. Hans, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mahmoud, how do you vote?
Yes.
Danny, how do you vote?
Yes.
Hey, Katina, how do you vote?
Yes. Great. Congratulations, Hans.
Oh,
You are chair pro temp, so now you have this Danny script right over here. And no, you just read aloud. This is what you read, and you take the not leave.
Thank you for
We will vote on other office after that of the president. If no candidate receive at least 7 votes, CHS 7 for a position, we will vote whether to do a second or third round of voting. Are there any nominations for chair for me?
No, for president, for president. Not-
Oh,
I nominate myself, for president.
Right.
And then you say, is there anybody else?
Is there anybody else want to participate? Maybe there's-
And we should probably, we allow the candidate to speak.
Okay, we allow candidate to speak. Express himself.
Why she wants to be the president.
So this is, this is my 8th year on the council. And I took the presidency office middle of the year, which, it was a jolt, and we had to navigate through a lot of conflict together. It's been a very challenging year, I think, for council. Moreover, generally, and as I look ahead, I just really want to have a positive and collaborative year. I know that, we can continue to be a council that continues to break down barriers for students instead of building them up. That's the council that I that I aspire to. I anticipate more conflicts arising. I, of course, anticipate national and international politics impacting our families and our students. I anticipate all the conversations about the new curriculum and cell phone policy arising, but I think we just have to keep it slow and listen and just be the deliberative hosting body that we are intended to be. We create a forum for respectful conversation, and most importantly, keep students at the center of everything that we do. And so that's the spirit in which I offer my candidacy for that will also. You have to officially close out any nominations in case there's anybody else on the board who wants to nominate themselves. So just give one last call for nomination.
A school will be 100%. Anybody don't have? Anybody? Okay.
Now you got a public comment.
Okay, are there any comments on, oh, I'm sorry, my friend, yes, no. Any comments on the Mandarin line?
There are no questions on the Mandarin line. Thank you. Comments?
Any comments on the Bengali line?
There are no comments on the Bengali line.
And how about the Spanish line?
There are no comments on the Spanish line.
Anybody else on the call?
I vote yes. Nancy, how do you vote? Yes. Hans, how do you vote? Yes. Ramon, how do you vote?
Yes,
Danny, how do you vote? Yeah, okay. Katina, how do you vote? Yes. Yes. Thank you. Congratulations.
All right, now I take over the role of chair for the remainder of the elections. We all have power.
That was fun, right?
Okay, so now we're going to move on to the two vice president one. Are there any nominees for vice president number one? She did. Leslie did offer her candidacy for VP number one, so she would be one of the candidates listed. And are there any other candidates for VP number one? I'll announce it again. Last time, are there any candidates for vice president number one? Okay, the nominations are officially closed. And we'll go to public comment on. Oh, is she there? Yeah. Okay, yeah, she wants to say it. Oh, okay. Thank you. Leslie, do you want to say something?
Oh, hi, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
You can hear. Okay, I can't really hear you guys, but yes, I've enjoyed being the vice. Sorry, it's a little loud in here. Being the vice president of District 15 CEC. I've learned so much. I've loved working with the school community and getting to know some of the principals and vice principals and some of the PTAs at the schools that I liaise with. And I've enjoyed so much working with all of you, and I'd love to continue doing the important work that I think we do.
Thank you, Leslie. All right, so are there any, I guess, public comment from Leslie?
Any comments? No. Right. Any comments on the Bengali line?
No comments on the Bengali line.
How about the Mandarin line?
No comments on the Mandarin line. Thank you.
And the Spanish line?
No comments on the Spanish line.
Everybody can move forward with, votes. For Leslie King, Vice President Watt, Antonia, how do you vote? I get Leslie. Yes. I vote yes. Nancy, how do you
Yes.
vote? Hans?
Yes.
Yeah. Stanley? Yeah. Bettina? And congratulations, Leslie. All right, now we're going to. Oh, Stanley's gotta leave. Okay, all right. Well, thank you so much, Stanley. We really appreciate you. Okay, unfortunately, we just lost our 7th member, and we cannot continue with the selections. Well, we're officially adjourning the annual meeting. So notate that. We will pick up where we left off, in this annual meeting at the next meeting on August 20th. People retain their office until their replacement is elected. Just keep that in mind. And I am going to officially open our business meeting. So we adjourn, what time are we adjourning? We are adjourning at 8:02, this annual meeting. Okay. Okay. Yes, you have, okay, I understand. So
Can I take 1 minute from you?
sure.
It was a great opportunity and I was so fortunate also to serve with this committee, the CSC. And unfortunately, I have to resign from the committee. Today, I came personally to say goodbye to everybody, wishing you good luck. It was so wonderful to meet each and everybody, especially Antonia. I met her personally with her husband. She was in a program with me and she's a great lady. Today also I came here for her because otherwise there is no quorum. I have a meeting today, very emergency meeting in Ocean Park. I have to go there. And when she said, like, she really needed, that's why I tried to make it, and even though it was late. But it's so nice to meet you, and because my daughter, she is moving from the district. We got a house in so my business is gonna be here. My business is gonna be here, but I will live in Lanai. So, I cannot not in this. There is no student. So I decided to resign. I sent an email
Yeah.
and I didn't meet her. Bettina, but she's a great, she's a great participant. The way she's working, she's so nice. So wishing you all the best.
Thank you.
See you again, whenever you have a meeting or something, I'll try to be there, okay?
Thank you so much.
Okay, I'm leaving, sorry for this.
Yes, no, I thank you
Take
so
care.
much for coming. Yeah, it was really a pleasure to have you. You're gonna be very hard to replace. And I wish you all the luck with your move. That's congratulations.
Because,
on that.
because of my two daughters, we need some school, bigger house, this, that, so I had to find something in South County.
Congratulations. Enjoy.
Okay, take care.
Thank you.
Please, go ahead with your meeting, okay? Thank you.
Okay, so I guess we'll call the business meeting to order at 8:05. We have. I'll just read. We can't, we'll call the roll. I'm a little confused.
Yeah.
The order of things here.
Yeah, because this meeting's
Where,
where,
I mean, just tell me which page I'm on.
go scroll all the way to the bottom to the business meeting.
That we started at 6:30.
We did not start a business. The first meeting, was the calendar meeting. When the superintendent read his superintendent. We had motioned to,
I'm good.
okay, thank you. All right, so scroll to the bottom, there is the business meeting there. We will need to call the roll for this business meeting. Antonio Ferraro, present. Leslie Keyes absent, Vanessa is present, Nancy is absent, Cruz. Donald is absent, Nancy Randall, present. Hans.
Question.
Lauren is absent, Mahmoud is part of the vote. Oh, I disbelieve it. Okay. Stanley is absent, Jonathan is absent, and Katina is absent. Thank you. I'm just rolling with it at this point. Okay, so we only have 5 members. We cannot conduct any business. We can't vote on the minutes. Thank goodness we were able to pass a budget. I am going to read just like a couple of updates to you all, if I can find them. So I was gonna officially announce the vacancy of Lauren Barkin, but now I am announcing 2 vacancies. One for Mamoon, who was our multilingual learner parent, and Lauren Barkin, who resigned effective July 22nd. So we official July 2nd, we officially, and we did, send out, notice and flyers to the public about that 1 vacancy, but now, members of the public, we have 2 vacancies. We are accepting applications. The applicant must be a parent of a student in grades kindergarten through 8, or in a pre-K program who currently attends a non-charter public school or pre-K program within a school in the district where the applicant wishes to serve. This is on the CC, obviously District 15. We did send out an email blast to announce the vacancy with the flyers in 6 different languages. An interview will be scheduled as soon as we have qualified candidates. I have reached out to candidates who previously applied for the previous vacant seat. One of those candidates is no longer interested. The other candidate, she doesn't technically qualify until her name is officially listed on ATS. But she may still be interested. The vote to seat a new member could take place as early as August or the September calendar meetings, depending on how much interest we get. Now, Lauren Barkin was the IEP rep. And according to FACE, the next CC member, who is currently the parent of a child with an IEP, with the most votes in the last election, becomes the IEP rep. And that member is Nancy Randall. So you will be the official IEP rep. Now that Mamoon's resignation just came to me. So I haven't been able to digest this. I believe the rules are the same for the parent of a multilingual learner. I don't know if there are other parents on this council
who are the parent of multilingual learner? Is your child officially like receiving services as a multilingual learner?
No,
No, okay. I will put it out there to the other members to ask if any of them qualify as parents of multilingual learners. Because they would fill that, role. And if there is no one on the council who is the parent of a multilingual learner, then we will need to only interview, and fill that vacancy with another multilingual learner parent. So that seat's gonna be a little bit more complicated. The other announcement that I had was that on Monday, Katina and Hans and I interviewed candidates for parent coordinators at 3 different schools at PS 456, which is the new school that is opening in the fall at 80 Flatbush. And we also interviewed somebody who's filling the position at BNS. And someone who's going to be filling the PC role at MS 428. So we met with their principals and the names of, well, maybe I don't know what the principals decided to do, so maybe I shouldn't announce the name. All right. But they seemed like lovely candidates. One had the experience of being a restorative justice coordinator and a paraprofessional, and she had been employed by the DOE since 2016. The other one had been employed at BNS in various roles since 2008. And those roles were student contemporary housing coordinator, after school director, educational assistant. And the other candidate was fluent in Cantonese and Spanish. So they all seem to be lovely people who had qualifications very specific to the schools where they hope to obtain a job. I don't know if Katina or Hans had anything to add about those interviews or that.
about attendance.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they're very good. I mean, I personally, I have been working with the one in Brooklyn School. They're very, they try really hard to engage with women, the parents, the kids, and they work really hard, like physically, mentally, with the kids, with the parents, with the teacher, with the staff, with the school, with college, with all the events they have. They give a lot of emotional support to the parents too. You know, they tell them, you know, come on, let's go, let's do it, we can do it. You know, they're very, how to say, like, they are very good backup for the PT, I see. They're really good. Yeah, I'm very impressed, actually.
Yeah, and I'm just trying to get a feel for other schools in the district right now. That was part of the reason that I wanted to be there, was just to hear some of the questions and the ways that they were approaching things, and they seemed great. I mean, all 3 of them really seem to care about the families who are part of the schools, and that seems like the most important thing. I hope they have the support from the principals that they'll need to do their jobs well. I liked the questions that you were asking about communication, but also about, you know, what's the school doing to make sure that they are equipped to engage with families the way that they might need to, translation and things like that. So it's great that people are stepping up. Yeah, wonderful. So hopefully they'll be able to fill these staffing positions as soon as possible. And those are all the updates that I have for you all. Eventually, we're gonna have to go into the liaison conversation. That's obviously not gonna happen tonight. But Katina did volunteer to pick up the slack at PS 15 because
PS15 has a particular situation that has been brought to our attention. All of you know about the situation there with the renovations that they have been struggling to get completed. And since that school needed some immediate attention, Katina has jumped into to fill that role.
Well, and Hans, I saw that you volunteered over email too, so I don't want to step
Oh,
on
okay,
toes, but-
okay.
Okay.
So we got it.
Okay.
Right. And I do want to just sort of have a little planning discussion about our CEC calendar. We can't like officially like finalize it, but we can sort of nail some things down, and then hopefully August 20th, we will have quorum and can say officially we're going to, obviously the dates that fall under the bylaws, I don't need a vote, but if we do want to combine any combined business and calendar meetings on a different day than is prescribed in the bylaws, we have to have, you know, consent from the, you know, the quorum. So there is a document in your folder that is just like, this is like this ugly working draft that I work off of to try and make sense of the year. Obviously, our next meeting is August 20th. If you flip to the back of the document, there's a list of all the holidays, all the DOE holidays. So you can sort of take a look at those. So we can cross-reference that. So we're having a combined calendar business meeting on the 20th, and that is going to be here at 1:31. We've already sort of just scheduled September 10th and September 24th per the bylaws, being that they are the second and fourth Tuesday of the month. Does anybody have any suggestions about which school we should have the first September calendar meeting at? The first one? Yeah. I was kind of thinking PS15 because of the issues they've raised.
That's what it is. Okay.
Then you can see that Rosh Hashanah is the beginning of October. And then there's Italian American Indigenous Day on October 14th. And there's for the bylaws, it would be October 8th and 22nd, which don't interfere with either of those holidays. I do lean towards having 2 meetings in October. I just think at the beginning of the year, it's not a great time to combine meetings, especially because we tend to fall behind on our agendas anyway. I'd rather save those combined meetings for like months when we have holidays. Any thoughts about where we would hold the October 22nd calendar meetings?
I think that you put 85 posts as a possibility.
Yeah, so that is a new building that is going to be handicap accessible, and that's kind of exciting because it's close to here. It makes it easier for Shanice to get there. And it's all the train lines convene there.
Yeah, I mean, that's just.
Then we have, okay, November 1st is Diwali. That's a Friday, schools are closed. Okay. November 5th, Election Day, November 11th, Veterans Day. What are your thoughts about November? I mean, we can have two meetings in November, November 12th and the 26th. The 26th is the Tuesday before the Thanksgiving recess. Council members, do you prefer to combine?
Yes, anticipating a lot of stress in November.
You're anticipating a lot of it, okay.
There's so many
So-
about that.
Okay, we'll move towards combining.
And if we're combining, I think it might be a good idea to put it on the 19th, the week in between, because Veterans Day precedes,
Is the day
before,
before,
then
then-
the following will be Thanksgiving week, so I think that.
Okay, so you would support the 19th. We'll have to think about location.
Is that the meeting at, Kingston 24?
You can't have, we are
Oh.
obligated to have a meeting in a accessible building, and 124 is
Yeah.
not accessible, unfortunately.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's, so last year, we tried to hold it at the Wynn Shelter. And at the last minute, the Wynn Shelter moved us into a very small space that was really not conducive to that meeting at all. And the secondary space, frankly, wasn't that much bigger. I don't know, we could go back to Wynn, we could do that again.
I mean, who knows what's, I feel like that particular meeting was packed for the circumstances that we had at the time.
Oh, you think it was just a circumstance?
More than half of the people there were PTA from 21, 24 because of the influx of migrants and the housing situation of their population, so.
But I think that would happen again, because it's a continuing
Right.
issue.
Particularly in November.
And it was really,
No, it was,
it was not, it was uncomfortable, it was not.
but I do think it's important to be
In that
vicinity,
that vicinity.
serve that section.
Right, okay, so let's, I'll put a note, 118 is not, I don't even know that they're accessible either, let me look at my list.
Thank
Thank you
I see.
for
Okay,
coming.
thank you. Consider running for, or putting.
I'm not sure if I can. I'm
Okay,
on, terminal leave, I resigned, I'm a DOE, employee. So, I resigned and I got a couple of, months, I have to check in if I could. Because I'm not technically working, but I took my days, I had 150 some days. still.
no.
So,
Oh,
yeah, I thought about it, but I intend on, coming in and hearing how it's done. I don't think I'd be ready anyway, because I haven't come to many. And I didn't go to them in my district where I work either, to be honest.
You know what, all you have to do is be a parent of a child
I
in
am.
the district
Yeah.
15 school, that's the only qualification.
Yeah, I'll take a look. I'll at least inquire if it's a weird technicality.
Yeah,
Probably doesn't come up that often.
I guess because you're technically still a DOE employee?
Yeah, I get a paycheck for a couple months. Yeah,
Okay.
I had 20 years. I just wanted to ensure. They get funny with like your anniversary dates, so I had 150 days, so I just took them
Okay.
on advice of my union. I was in the administrators and
Oh, okay.
so,
Okay.
but we'll see.
Okay.
And my wife might kill me now that I'm like home. That was the idea that I'd be home, like, and she works a lot, so I was gonna, we have 2 kids, so
Mhm.
if I just jump into a whole bunch of stuff. Yeah, it might be a problem, but we'll see.
I
Listen,
saw
that's
they
what-
said, all right, all right, so we will look for a space. Well, they closed La Quinta. Which I don't think there would have, no. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, it's a perpetual problem, space near 124 for a public meeting. It's always been on our radar, and we thought we had a solution last year, but it didn't work well. Okay, so December, okay, so just we go into December, the vacation is from the 24th to January 1st. It's a Tuesday through Wednesday, winter recess. I imagine council members will want to combine again in December, because that seems to be the pattern. We could do the 10th or the 17th. I say the 10th, depending.
When's Hanukkah this year?
Good question. Right, 25th. The 25th, okay, so it's during, during Christmas. All right, so the legislative breakfast is very tentative right now. I haven't put in an application yet. I also have to check the state, schedule, because I have to make sure that it is not a Friday when they are back in Albany.
And isn't that why it's usually on the previous Friday?
That previous Friday. Oh, the 3rd is, a little, no, because we have office of the first, okay. I personally think the 3rd is a bit tight.
I mean, I think it's horrible, but
Yeah,
I think it's.
I
horrible
don't
feeling
think I
about
could
it on the 3rd.
operationalize that on the 3rd.
But the reason that it was always that first Friday is because they go to Albany next week.
Right,
So that's the.
right.
When do they go on break from all of them?
All of this I have to look up and,
I know President's Council wasn't able to represent because of the date is so close.
close to
December.
What about December?
That's what I'm asking, when do they go on break? Maybe we can move it.
So you think we could have,
Move it up.
move it up into December?
Well, I
Depends
mean,
on
the
the
problem with December is that everybody's throwing. something
Everybody's
saying
sort
December.
of smarter with that.
Or could it be in February, like when it's not?
No, but they're gone.
That's the problem, they're gone.
They're gone like January through April.
Mid-January through April, they're pretty much gone, and it's hard to get them.
So it has to be, it can't be January through April, so gone. So it has to
Okay.
be. But it's either. but
Well, then you
May-
don't get to weigh in on
Yeah.
all the budgetary
Yeah.
issues if you wait and, because we used to have it years ago in June. But by that time, everything had been
Yeah.
decided, so what were we doing? you
I
know?
mean, frankly, I think a lot of people are gonna take off December 23rd, January 2nd and January 3rd.
Yeah, I do
It's
too,
gonna be
they're gonna
two
make it,
break.
yeah.
So, which I wish they would just make it a 2-week break, but anyway, so. I don't think doing it on the 3rd.
No, it's not
makes sense,
sensible.
however,
Yeah,
they're not around after that, so
no,
that,
they might be here the 10th or the 17th, I just have to check,
okay, if
Yeah.
they're here, then great.
yeah.
If
If
they're
they're
great.
here, 10 or 17. I would propose doing the 17.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that is
More time.
enough.
Yes.
More time for.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's always,
Yeah.
rough.
But if they're not here, then
Then I have to
moving it
scramble.
up
Into December.
to December. But December's hard, so then it's doing it up to November, but then November's gonna be crazy with the election.
Oh my
So
God.
then it should be October.
Wait, no, wait. No, the election.
I mean, the presidential election.
Right, but we don't
Yeah.
have locals being.
I just mean that
Elected
there's
at
gonna
that
be
point.
lots of energy in November
Mhm.
with the
No,
presidential.
I
election.
understand. I'm just thinking about the logistics of what concerns us based on who we need to have there.
Yeah,
Are we gonna need to? Just,
Well, it's always our city council members, our state assembly, and, you know, we don't often get our congressman there. He'll send a, you know, a chief of staff or something.
like Friday, December 3rd.
Friday, December 3rd.
Could work.
Well, I'll put it in the mix with the.
December 6th, maybe.
Oh, sorry. Whatever that Friday is.
6.
That could, I think that if it's early, like before the 15th, we could manage that.
Yeah.
Before it gets crazy with the holidays.
Right.
That means we gotta hit the ground running right after Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
So Thanksgiving weekend happens and then
Yeah.
it's legislative breakfast.
well, everything would be planned before.
Before, everything would be planned beforehand, yes, okay. Do you still have your connection at, the yogurt place?
Yes, I do.
That makes it easier, right?
So with
You're not
that,
allowed to burn that bridge. I need that yogurt. That's funny. Okay, so then, okay, so Tuesday, all right, we've got Martin Luther King, sorry, January, we've got January 20th is Martin Luther King Day, schools closed, and January 29th, Wednesday, a Lunar New Year, schools closed.
Oh, so then it should not be Tuesday, the 28th.
Right, yes. Should not be Tuesday, the 28th.
And we only have one meeting.
So-
No, we have to. Oh, that's a joint meeting.
So it would and, it would be the 19th. But that, no, that's.
Well, what
It would be
about-
the 21st, it would be, but that would be the day after, and I'll hit it, but I mean, we do things after a 3-day weekend, like, it could be the 21st.
What,
Do you want to combine?
oh, I was gonna say, what if instead we move our calendar meeting to the combined meeting? Oh, no, because they're on the same time.
Those are tentative, those are just, I would just ignore the president's council joint meetings for now, because that is from last year, that's just like a placeholder.
Yeah,
That hasn't been determined, no conversations.
What about January 14th?
So do a combined,
that's the business.
do combined business calendar meeting, January 14th.
I don't see it. Unless you wanna do the,
We have a meeting one week and then a meeting next week.
or you can do the 7th and the 21st. I would be here on the 7th.
We've also just, you know, if we have just had a legislative breakfast,
Yeah, that's gonna be a lot.
that's a lot.
And
You know, I think combining, given the two holidays,
so that placeholder
Maybe.
for the joint,
yeah,
that one
that's,
needs to move too. It's gonna be the same issue. It's gonna be a lot after the legislative.
yeah, that's a conversation the president's council has to
So the 14th is basically
So-
combined.
combine, okay. Oops. Okay, and then we move on to February. So the break, the midwinter recess is February 17th through 21st. It's smack dab in the middle, as it always is. I think if we combine January, we should probably have two separate February meetings on February 11th and February 25th. I think it's feasible. It doesn't impact any of the holidays. March. So we don't have any March holidays until the 31st is Eve. So I think we should just go have our two regularly scheduled for bylaws meetings on the 11th and the 25th. Then we get into some holidays in April. We have spring recess, 14th through the 18th, Monday through Friday. And then Passover is technically the 12th through the 20th. Those are not consecutive days off.
This is
So
right
it's Saturday,
before the
Sunday.
holiday.
It's right before the holiday. It starts on the weekend.
Yeah.
So it actually overlaps.
Yeah.
So Easter and Passover overlap.
Yeah.
It
had been many years. I looked it up. It's been many years since they have not.
Yeah.
Oh,
I was
really?
Confused this past year.
It's a very, it was a year of not, of lack of, yeah.
Right. So we've got Tuesday, April 8th and Tuesday, April 29th. So we have our regular business meeting several weeks before the spring recess, and then a calendar meeting right after the recess. And May, we just have Memorial Day. So we can go ahead and have our two regular Tuesday meetings on the 13th and the 27th. Of the Memorial Day. It's happened before. If you would like to change that, we can change that. I don't see a way around it, but maybe people would extend, so. Just be mindful of the agenda of the very important votes. Okay. Yeah, the end of May is kind of important, especially if we don't have two meetings in June. Because there's all the finishing up the year stuff. Keep in mind that next spring there will be another election of new council members. So, you know, we'll want to have those new members at a meeting to introduce themselves.
Well,
Yeah,
last time around, they didn't get it together.
they didn't get it together
Until
until that.
the very end
Yeah,
of June.
yeah.
And so I don't think that we should plan a meeting based on them getting it together for
Okay.
us to be able to introduce people
Right.
on Tuesday the 24th. I think
Mm.
that late June meeting
It's
is
hard.
really hard.
It's hard.
So I would prefer to combine earlier
Earlier.
in June.
Yeah, look at all those holidays though for a minute. There's Eid. I mean, it could be an anniversary day.
It could be two. Why not combine them to both on Tuesday the 10th?
We could absolutely, finish off early. Keep in mind that we're going to have to do that C4E presentation. They're gonna want a separate meeting. Remember, I had to call that meeting June 4th just for the C4E contract for excellence presentation. There's the final conversation about the superintendent's evaluation. I mean, we could just call a special session or just like schedule a second. Okay, so we could schedule another day before the 24th. The 17th. Juneteenth is on the Thursday. Yeah, I think June 17th is.
So you wanna do the 10th and the 17th?
I think it's gonna happen anyway. I just have I have this feeling I'm gonna have to call meetings to wrap things up and do the C3.
Could we call it off if we're able to accomplish everything by the?
We can always, as a group, say we want to combine those meetings, as long as we do it like a couple of months in advance, because we have to.
I mean, ideally, no, combining them, but to be fair and give enough notice to everybody, put it on the calendar as 17th and say. We might be able to combine it if we're all present. Here's the motivation for everybody to show up beforehand.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of business at the end of June that the council has to like do. And that is going to be my last meeting. So. And we can think about it. I'm gonna put June 17th and 10th for now. And we can talk more about locations, after we sort of finalize these dates.
I think having one in high school was.
Yeah. Yes, I think that, I agree. Yeah, so I'm hoping to do the high school for the arts. This time around.
Thank you.
Yeah, all right, let me just look at my motion. Let me see, okay, so we did our discussion. I think that's it. Right? Who's making a motion to adjourn? Is it Nancy? That was Vanessa.
I second.
Thank you guys all. That was a really swirly meeting. I'm impressed that we managed to get as much done as we did. And I look forward to spending this next year with you all. So more to come. See you August 20th.
We're gonna be going.
Okay, okay.
I won't be.
You won't be here. Who will be here?
August, what is it?
August 20th.
I probably will be. I need to say.
Okay. Well, we got our budget and